Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Battleverse, the place where we uncover the stories behind the world's most gripping conflicts and military showdowns. Today, we are diving into a dramatic event that has captured headlines across the globe: Ukraine's bold strike on the Crimean Bridge. The colossal structure once presented as a permanent bond between Russia and Crimea, now burning, broken, and trembling under the weight of war. The question echoing everywhere is this: has Russia's supply line been fatally cut off, or can the Kremlin still keep its prized possession intact? In this video, we will explore this unfolding story with the intensity of a review, dissecting the bridge as if it were a machine, a weapon, and a symbol. We'll look at its strength, its vulnerabilities, and its meaning in a conflict that refuses to fade away. The Crimean Bridge was always more than just steel and concrete. From the day it was unveiled, it became a statement. Russia showcased it as a symbol of permanence, a display of engineering and political might, a monument that declared to the world that Crimea was forever Russia. Stretching across the Kerch Strait with immense length, this bridge was presented as a marvel, combining roads and rails, linking the Russian mainland to Crimea in a seamless connection. To the outside eye, it looked like a fortress, sleek, modern, and indestructible. It gleamed like a crown jewel in Russia's infrastructure projects. But what looked like a masterpiece of permanence has now been scarred by war, exposed as vulnerable in the face of precision strikes. The exterior of the bridge, once imposing, is now marked by fire and smoke, its proud silhouette shaken by explosions that the world witnessed on camera. Deep inside, the bridge was never just about traffic. It was a flowing artery for Moscow's ambitions. It carried convoys of soldiers, trucks loaded with ammunition, fuel tankers feeding the engines of war, and supply lines carrying the essentials to keep occupied Crimea functioning. The interior routes of this bridge symbolized efficiency, smoothness, and strength. But when Ukrainian strikes ignited the night, the truth of the interior became exposed. Trucks exploded, fires spread rapidly, and the structural confidence collapsed into chaos. What was supposed to be an untouchable lifeline revealed its cracks in the heat of the flames. The bridge's very heart became a battlefield, a contested space where war ripped apart the illusion of safety. When we look at its performance, the story grows even sharper. For Russia, the bridge's performance had always been flawless on paper. It carried endless loads, functioned smoothly under heavy military reliance, and was proudly paraded as proof of Russia's ability to sustain the war machine. It was reliable, efficient, and symbolic. But in the performance test that matters most, the bridge stumbled. Each strike has proven that its performance under fire is unreliable. Ukrainian forces have turned this proud structure into a repeated target, striking at the heart of its logistics, shaking the confidence of those who depend on it. Its once perfect rating as a symbol of invincibility has dropped sharply. Now, every time a Russian convoy crosses, the bridge performs not as a monument of strength, but as a reminder of risk, vulnerability, and danger. And then there are the safety features, or, as Russia claimed, the layers of security wrapped around the bridge. This was supposed to be one of the most secure structures in the world, protected by radar systems, naval patrols, anti-aircraft defenses, and a constant watch from surveillance drones and soldiers. On paper, it looked airtight. The Kremlin boasted that it could withstand sabotage, that no hostile forces would be able to even scratch it. Yet the record speaks for itself. Strikes have repeatedly hit it, bypassing or overwhelming these defenses with creativity, precision, and boldness. Whether it was drones skimming the water or missiles breaking through the shield, the attacks have exposed Russia's protective measures as overpromised and underdelivered. What was presented as the strongest fortress is now mocked as a weak link, a structure whose safety systems fail every time they are tested in real combat. What made the Crimean Bridge unique was not just its engineering, but its story. Its unique selling point was always its symbolic value. This was Europe's longest bridge, constructed with enormous effort, linking Russia to Crimea and making a loud, unapologetic statement that Crimea was permanently under Moscow's control. It was more than a bridge, it was propaganda in concrete form, a physical banner of Russian dominance waving across the Kerch Strait. But now its uniqueness has twisted against Russia. Each strike turns that uniqueness into humiliation. Every blast transforms it from a monument of permanence into a symbol of fragility. For Ukraine, the uniqueness is reversed. Hitting the bridge isn't just tactical, it's psychological. Each attack tells the world that Russia's grip is not absolute, that its monuments can burn, that no fortress is beyond reach. That psychological warfare delivered with fire and steel is a weapon in itself. The price of the Crimean Bridge tells another story. Russia poured billions into building it, invested heavily in securing it, and spends even more repairing it after every strike. The costs are astronomical, both financially and politically. Every time an attack succeeds, Moscow pays again in money, in credibility, and in morale. For Ukraine, the price is entirely different. With relatively cheap drones, missiles, or sabotage operations, they inflict damage worth billions. The imbalance is stark. Russia keeps paying endlessly, while Ukraine achieves results at a fraction of the cost. In the brutal economy of war, this bridge is proving to be a failing investment for the Kremlin, a bleeding wound that drains resources and delivers little in return. And so we arrive at the conclusion, one that speaks not only to infrastructure but to the heart of this conflict. The burning of the Crimean Bridge is not just an event, it is a symbol. It symbolizes Ukraine's boldness, Russia's vulnerabilities, and the shifting perception of power in this war. Is Russia's supply line cut off entirely? Not yet. Alternative routes exist, ferries are being used, and workarounds are attempted. But each strike weakens the line, slows the flow, and complicates logistics. More importantly, each attack undermines the perception of Russian strength, eroding confidence among soldiers, citizens, and even allies. The bridge was supposed to be eternal, and yet, time and again, it burns. That contradiction is powerful, shaping how this war is seen not only in Moscow and Kiev, but around the world. What this event shows us is that war is not just about weapons and soldiers, it is about symbols, psychology, and perception. The Crimean Bridge has become all three: a symbol of Russian ambition, a psychological target for Ukraine, and a global stage for the perception of power. Its flames light up the night sky not only over Crimea but over the entire narrative of this war. Each time it burns, the world is reminded that permanence in conflict is an illusion, that even the proudest monuments can fall, and that strategy is as much about striking the heart as it is about striking the body. The story of the Crimean Bridge is still being written. Russia will repair, Ukraine will strike again, and the cycle will continue. But every chapter chips away at the certainty Russia once displayed. What was once a proud declaration of dominance has become a battlefield in itself. The bridge, in its fire and smoke, tells us that nothing in this war is settled, and that the struggle for Crimea is far from over. As we watch the flames, we realize that this is not just about steel beams and asphalt roads. It is about morale, control, and the shifting tides of war. It is about one side proving that no target is beyond reach, and the other side grappling with the reality that their grandest achievements can be turned into their greatest vulnerabilities. The Crimean Bridge stands damaged, scarred, but still standing. The question is, for how long, and that, dear viewers, is the essence of this bold strike. Ukraine has delivered not just a blow to a bridge, but a message to the world. Russia's supply line is bleeding, its image is wounded, and the flames of the Crimean Bridge will continue to haunt the Kremlin. What happens next may very well shape the course of this war. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.